Hey guys, so in this video I actually want to talk a little bit about your radio settings, right? So having your car set up to handle well is one thing, but knowing your radio and setting the radio up so you're comfortable and so that you can drive the car consistently is a very important aspect because, as we all know, the radio is your link to the car, and a lot of times you can, just in the way you can adjust the radio, you can make the car handle differently. So what I want to share with you is a little bit about, if you don't know already, what are the things you can change on your radio to make your car handle differently, to make you feel more comfortable, or to make you faster, which being comfortable with the radio and with the car is how you go faster. So quickly, I just have the KO Pro EX6, and I've got the drop down wheel because I like the way it sticks out. I know that they also have the other drop down wheel, which isn't the 3D adjustable, which also feels pretty good. I felt it before, and the other one they have is just the standard wheel, and that's also a good option, and that's not bad. And so that's one of the ways I feel most comfortable is having that extension, and so that I can have my hands separated apart, and it's just the way I feel comfortable. And like I said, the more comfortable you are with the radio, the faster you're going to be, and definitely more consistent. One of the things that I notice is people drive with a different stiffness on the steering wheel, and if you didn't know this already, you can adjust the tension. You take your driver, you stick it in the hole over here, and you tighten the screw to adjust the tightness. For me, I like it pretty soft, and that's just a preference, of course. Um, Another quick thing, I know some beginners do this. I know most of you probably who are watching are saying, "Well, I'm not a beginner. I know how to do this already." But for those of you who don't and who are just getting into it, when you're driving, it's important never to let go of the steering wheel, right? So I see a lot of beginners when they're driving, they want to let go of the steering wheel to make the car go straight, and they're in a turn, left, right, and then they hit the straightaway and they let go. Or there's a quick chicane section, and then there's a front straight, and they'll let go, or whatever. But you see, when I let go, it takes more time for the wheels to recenter because they're jittering back and forth. And also, you're losing control of the car for that brief instant, and anytime you don't have control of the car, bad things can happen. So that's really important to always maintain control of the steering wheel, return it back to center, and so forth. Now into the settings of the radio. Um, One of the other important things is getting your steering travel right. So as you can see, actually mine is adjusted, and you see left is 65 and right is 100, and you may be saying, whoa, what is up with that? Well, it just so happens that the way that the servo horn attaches, you can't get it perfectly center, and you have to mount it off center a little bit. So it does take quite a bit of an adjustment to get the steering equal left and right, and that's critical. So that's one thing to look out for. Now, another thing that all computer radios have is steering dynamic or steering curve. So right now I don't have any steering curve in. Generally, in two-wheel drive racing, I would actually have positive. And what that means is the steering is going to react quicker. So as you turn the wheel, there's going to be more travel initially and less travel at the end. And if you have it negative, it's going to be the opposite. It's going to be smoother. Oops, sorry. When you hit the steering wheel, it's going to react a little more slowly, and it's going to be a little bit easier to handle. When I was starting out, I typically ran negative steering curve, and that just made it easier because I could crank the steering wheel and it wouldn't cause any issues, and that was kind of like a band-aid. But I think that being able to finesse the steering wheel is something that you develop later on, and that is not always needed. However, if you feel like your car needs it, or that you feel more comfortable that way, that's up to you. One other thing is throttle dynamic. So as you can see, negative 14% curve. And once again, the same thing as a steering curve, throttle curve makes the car smoother, and it responds more slowly, and it just makes it easier to drive. And even, it doesn't matter what motor I'm using, I usually have a negative throttle curve to smooth out that throttle response to make the car easy to drive. Because at the end of the day, if your car is easy to drive, you won't make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you win the race, right? So that's that. The next thing I want to go over is programming of the ESC. So here we have our program card. Let's try and zoom in a little bit. Let's see if I can get this right. Okay. So with the program card, there's a number of parameters on the ESC that you can adjust that make the car easier to drive. So the first thing you want to do, obviously, oh wait, I forgot. When you first are setting up your chassis, you have to program your ESC endpoints to your radio, and basically you turn it, hold the button down, you flip the switch, right? I'm not going to do it because I already have it set perfectly, right? And then it's going to start blinking a lot. And what you're going to do is you're going to not touch the radio, not touch the ESC. It's going to blink, blink, blink. You're going to hear it beep, 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 beep. You're going to hit this once. Boom. Okay. It should give you, I think it's a green light to respond back or whatever, but it's a distinctive difference between the beeping before and then that after you hit that button. Okay. Then what you're going to do, you're going to pull the throttle, hit the button again. Okay. And then the last thing, push reverse, hit the button the last time, and you've programmed your ESC. I had a couple people asking questions about that, so I thought I'd just quickly mention that. Okay, so programming with the program card. I'm going to go through this. Okay, so you just plug it in to your ESC. Oop, I guess it didn't go in all the way. So, okay, there you go. You plug it in. The first item, that's pretty straightforward, running mode, don't need to go over that. I think that the first item that you might want to tune with is 5, and that is the start mode punch. I have it set to 4. I think it's stock, it comes with 5. I'm not 100% certain, but that just means off the line, how aggressive is your motor, and you can kind of change that with the throttle curve in your radio. However, this is really good to work with too. If you have cogging, if your motor cogs, increase that value just so it won't cog as much if you have more start power, obviously, because that means it's applying more power to the motor and it's not having that issue going, I guess. Brake force, pretty straightforward. How much brakes do you want to use, or forward force, excuse me. Reverse force, drag brake. I have a little bit set on this car just because of the power of the motor. Generally, lower power motors like 7500 kV. Then you don't, 5000 kV. Then you don't want to have a drag brake. But everybody's different. However, if you're really used to tool drive with a brushed motor, and you let off early and you kind of let the car slow itself down and make the turn, then running some drag brake is not going to hurt. However, the nature of the belt drive, the car already slows down plenty. It rolls too. It's not like it's got a lot of resistance. However, it slows down enough, and it carries enough corner speed that you don't need the drag brake usually. The other thing is that I find with this car, being on throttle more, even if you let off throttle, you want to get on throttle quick, because you get more steering when you're on throttle, because you're activating that front diff and you're working those front wheels. So off power, this car, it does suffer from understeer. However, second you're back on the throttle, you're gonna find more steering. So learning to drive a lot on throttles is really gonna be helpful. And the last thing is timing, of course, and that's just getting it right, and finding a sweet spot to find how much top end you want, and more timing is going to make the motor obviously a little more aggressive. You have to watch the motor temperatures, so if your motor's overheating, maybe reduce the timing on it. So that's really it. And whenever you want to change a value, you just press OK. And let's say, for example, you change a lot of things and the car's not working right. You go through all the values and hit reset, and now it's reset. Okay, and so now we're going to go through